It's a rather cold evening. Hello there. Good evening. Welcome to the Primetime News on your Joy News channel on Multi TV. My name is Gifty Ando Apia. Coming up, 4 officials of the Ghana Water Company Limited and Ghana Urban Water Company interdicted over use of 0.7% of the total 12,000 metric tons of expired chemicals for water treatment at the Wager Treatment Plant. Ghana is no longer classified as hyper-endemic for malaria as the country makes remarkable improvements in the control and prevention of the disease. Year-on-year consumer price inflation for February 2013 increased by 1.2%. We'll get some explanation on what this means to the consumer. We have all those and more coming up in the next few minutes. So welcome to the details now. Jorge Mario Bergoglio, Archbishop of Buenos Aires, has been announced as the new Pope. And while it's surely an exciting euphoria over there, but it's official. A new Pope has been elected, and he is from Argentina and has adopted an original name, Francis I. Now, this means that world's 1.2 billion Roman Catholics now have a new leader. 115 cardinal electors entered conclave yesterday, as we told you earlier in the story, to begin the process of electing a new leader for the Catholic Church after the resignation of Pope Benedict XVI at the end of February after a failed attempt yesterday and 2 failed attempts earlier today. White smoke finally rose from the chimney above the Sistine Chapel in the Vatican City, where the conclave had been held. So, what are the expectations of the new Pope, and does it really matter from which part of the world he hails? Joining us to share some insights on this and other issues of interest is Administrator of the Holy Spirit Cathedral, Reverend Father Tindana. Good evening and welcome to Joy News, sir. Good evening, and if I can make a very quick correction. Please. I am the Secretary to the Metropolitan Archbishop of Accra, right. Thank you very much, sir, for that correction. So, tell us, did you expect the Pope to be elected this early?
Yes, as for me, I expected that because the Emeritus Pope Benedict XVI announced his resignation as far back as February 11th. So for me, he has at least given the cardinals enough time to prepare and to think about the next person to become the Pope. So as late as just yesterday, I predicted that by today we should have a Pope.
Wow.
And I thank God my prediction has come true.
Your prediction has indeed come true. Are you surprised that Cardinal Turkson did not become the Pope?
Though I wish that he would have become the Pope, but I'm not surprised anyway because I know that it is the Holy Spirit who will inspire the cardinals to give us a Pope. So I was looking forward to seeing a Pope.
And you have a Pope now. So ahead of the conclave, the nationality of the Pope had been a huge issue, with our very own Cardinal Turkson coming up as a strong favorite. For you as a Catholic, does the Pope and his nationality really matter?
In fact, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It doesn't matter because when you become a Pope, you don't become a Pope for a regional bloc. You become a Pope for the 1.2 billion Catholics all over the world.
Across the world, right.
Yes.
Right. So Pope Benedict XVI, he resigned at a time when the church was having some serious challenges. Now, there's been allegations of child abuse and the like. How do you expect that the new Pope will handle the numerous challenges facing the church?
Yes, as for challenges are part of life.
Sure.
And every institution has its own challenges. So I know this Pope is coming to inherit a church that is, we should like the devil with challenges. The next Pope who will come after him will also face his own challenges. But one thing I know this Pope will do is that he will lead the church to prayer. And I'm very sure that with prayer and humility, the church will overcome the many obstacles that he is facing now.
Well, really with prayer, quickly before we let you go, there have been calls for a Pope who is charismatic. But from information we've gathered, the new Pope Francis I is a conservative. So in what direction do you expect him to take the church, beside the fact that he's going to lead the church in prayer mostly?
You know, when we talk about conservatism, I really do not understand what people mean. Is it because he is keeping the tradition of the church? He is following what the gospel teaches? Is that the reason why we call him a conservative pope? If that is the reason, then I think I would like to follow him, because he must preach the gospel as presented to us by Christ, and not any other philosophy coming from somewhere outside the Bible.
You know, the thing is, sometimes conservativeness has a way of, removing you from contemporary times. And so that is why we put out such a point. Don't you think there has to be some kind of contemporary nature?
Yeah, but you can see that this pope is really down to earth, and he's a man of the people.
Okay.
Look at him. He asked for prayer from the many people gathered at St. Peter's Square.
Right.
And in a moment of silence, they were all praying for him. So I am very sure that he is down to earth. But in Argentina, we are told he speaks out, and he is for the poor, calling for equality. So this is a man who really is in touch with the situation
with the people
on the ground, with the people. Yes.
Thank you very much, Father Tindana. We're most grateful for your time, and we congratulate you as a member of the Catholic Church.
Thank you very much.
Well, so indeed, the Catholic Church across the world are excited. Let's move on with other stories now. Reports indicates that 0.7% of expired chemicals were used for treating water at the Wager Waterworks. The revelation was made by the Minister of Waterworks and Housing on Wednesday, when he made available the outcome of the committee which investigated the incident. 4 officials of the Ghana Water Company and Ghana Urban Water Company have since been interdicted for their roles in the matter. Reports over the last few weeks indicate that the Ghana Urban Water Company Limited may have used the expired aluminium sulfate to purify water for onward distribution to the Ghanaian consumer. The names of the interdicted officials have not yet been released.
Some aluminium sulfate, alum, imported from China by the Ghana Urban Water Company and Ghana Water Company to purify tap water expired last June, raising serious public health questions. The sector minister therefore inaugurated a 6-member committee last month chaired by Albert A. Ojiri, the immediate past president of the Ghana Institution of Engineers, to investigate the alleged importation of expired alum for water treatment. After its investigation, the committee recommended that 4 officials of the Ghana Water Company and Ghana Urban Water Company Limited should be interdicted for their roles in the matter. They are Dora A. Bona, Procurement Officer GUWL, David Youngson, Procurement Officer GWCL, Edwin Kwame V, Logistics Officer, and Evans Balara, Chief Manager, Water Quality Assurance GUWL. The committee, among others, observed that although at the time the alum entered the port of Tema, at the time they were cleared, they had expired. It was noted that even though the Ghana Standards Authority conducted analytical tests and declared the sample potent, in the opinion of the committee, the testing of the alleged expired alum by the Standards Authority is clearly not within the mandate of the authority. It further observed an independent chemist who spoke to the committee on the matter indicated that alum does not expire when stored well. It is also not poisonous or harmful when used to treat water. He explained further that when the potency goes down, quantity used may be increased without any harm to the body. The committee also recommended that further investigation is conducted by the Bureau of National Investigations, BNI, into circumstances that led to the undue delay in the clearance of the chemicals, as well as the rationale behind the testing of the alleged expired alum by the Ghana Standards Authority.
Ghana is no longer classified as hyper-endemic for malaria, as the country has made remarkable improvements in the control and prevention of the disease. This was made known by the program manager of the National Malaria Control Program, Dr. Constance Bat-Planche, at the launch of Preventine, another intervention to aid malaria.
Reducing the impact of malaria has been one of the keys to the achievement of the Millennium Development Goal geared towards combating disease and the reduction of extreme poverty. Malaria has been one of the leading causes of mortality among children, affecting 2.4% of them. As a result of that, about 80 children in Ghana die before their 5th birthday. Reporting the investment in malaria control and financial support from government and non-governmental organization, Dr. Constance Bat-Plange noted there have been remarkable returns in the control of malaria in the country. She announced Ghana is no longer classified as hyper-endemic, hinting the latest results on the improvement of malaria control, which will soon be launched. As prevention plays a key role in malaria control, Preventine has been introduced by the concerned health education. The Preventine MLC is sprayed on drains to capture and kill all larvae to stop the breeding cycle of mosquitoes.
Larvicide, our larvicide kills all larvae. That means Anopheles, it is Aegypti, Culex, the 3 species that actually are dangerous to human health. And it also takes away odor. We've got to, well, I've used it in the States for argument's sake. I've used it in trials, we've used it in extensive trials, in Malaysia, various other places. For different purposes. It takes E. coli, it kills E. coli.
There is also a funding package being proposed to help in clearing the lagoons that have been filled with refuse and has become breeding grounds for mosquitoes.
I have a funding package for $75 million now, which has to be paid over 15 years, and for the first 3 years, nothing. It takes me about 3 years' time to change the lagoon, because the pipes would have to go under the beach into the ocean. We would have to build a education center with an auditorium, employ 150 people of the local community to clear the drains, put nets up in the estuary so we can catch all new rubbish that is coming in. Something that Ghana can be proud of.
All right. Do you have specific... The program manager of the National Malaria Control Program, Dr. Constance Bat-Plange, applauded the new product as another means of prevention.
It will control a lot of diseases, not only malaria. So it goes beyond malaria control. So diseases like malaria, elephantiasis, yellow fever will be tackled. In addition, you know, the filth and everything, I don't know whether it addresses houseflies. Yes. Does it? Yeah. So it means then that cholera, dysentery, trachoma, name them.
The product has already been used on pilot basis on the Ekpeshi Lagoon, and when arrangements are completed, it would be used on a full scale on the same lagoon and perhaps others.
Well, good news, good news. Well, to be an active citizen in society, one is expected to promote solidarity, community development, and good neighborliness. But many well-meaning Ghanaians are believed to be shying away from actively participating in discussions bordering on their community for fear of being tagged as belonging to one political party or the other. So, in a country polarized by ethnic and tribal sentiment, how can one be a good citizen? Find out more in the following report by Eric Curtis Howard.
Active contribution to radio and TV talk shows by way of phone-ins during the mornings and sometimes in the afternoon does not make you an active citizen in society.
It's partly a question of education and people getting the appropriate information on the issues that confront them and how and where they can address those issues. But there's also the broader and bigger question of political polarization, in which everything that is said or written is interpreted in political terms, and people look at it with political lenses. So it has led many people to keep their cool and not actually commenting on national issues. So it has generated a whole series of apathy on the part of citizens who know, who have the information, but who are afraid of being tagged this or that.
Talk is cheap, and the proliferation of radio stations across the country has made it easy for many to express their opinions about an issue, yet few take concrete measures to rectify the problem. A good citizen is expected to take an active role in society whilst promoting good neighborliness and community development. A good citizen does not wait for government to solve certain minute problems in his or her constituency.
ɛne sɛ yɛ ankasa yɛbɛhu yɛ dwumadie na yɛayɛ ne yie sɛ mpo yɛntena ho ntwɛn sɛ obi bɛyɛ bibia ma yɛn anaasɛ wohu sɛ bibi ɛkɔ so a ɛnyɛ a wankasa bɛhu sɛ meyɛ ɔmamba pɛ wɔ sɛ meyankasa mekasa fa ho sɛ adeɛ wei ɛnyɛ anaasɛ bitu anamɔ fa ho sɛ adeɛ wei ɛnyɛ ɛsiane sɛ wokasa wotena ho atwɛn na obi abɛyɛ ama anaasɛ obi na abɛka ho asɛm akyerɛw sɛ mfie du na sɛ obi maae na sɛ obi mɛka sa nkyerɛw na kyɛ sɛ tibia wotim sɛ nyimpo a na tia na wote ho nti deɛ bɛtimi ayɛ bi ne sɛ yɛankasa yɛbɛsɔre na yɛabɔ so na yɛtu anamɔ na wotu anamɔ na ana ebi bɛboa.
Human rights group Oxfam International believes whilst engaging policymakers on the need to respect the human rights of the citizenry, there is the need for members of society at the grassroots level to actively participate in governance and make their voices heard. Country Director of Oxfam International, Sebastian Tia, believes there is a need for Ghanaians to embrace change in order to conceptualize the idea of active citizenship and social movement from the grassroots to the national level.
Change would happen only when they happen at the political level. And therefore the need for citizens to champion and lead and be able to engage effectively to bring about that change, but also delivering to their obligations. So this is about us reorienting and strengthening ourselves so that we can be more facilitators and catalysts so that change can be sustained, because if communities respond to their responsibilities but demand their rights, then we can achieve lasting change in Ghana.
Based on a value judgment position that you think that what is happening is wrong and you want to bring about a change.
Now let's go to Parliament. Now the Volta River Authority may have to look for another intermediary to push forward its proposal for an upward adjustment of tariff to meet production cost. Last week, the VRA, at a meeting with Parliament's Select Committee on Energy and Mines, prevailed on them to get the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission to grant them their wish. But Ranking Member on Parliament's Mines and Energy Committee, Katie Hammond, says Ghanaians should fiercely reject any increment in electricity tariff likely to be announced by the PURC.
Katie Hammond, who is the Member of Parliament for Adansia Sokwa, questioned the moral justification for VRA calling on the PURC to immediately effect an upward adjustment of electricity tariff. At a meeting with Parliament's Select Committee on Energy and Mines, the Volta River Authority disclosed its finances were under threat following the daily disbursement of $3 million for the purchase of fuel to power its thermal plants. It further warned that until government assisted it with $340 million, it would be difficult for the authority to purchase light crude oil for thermal generation next month. But contributing to the debate on the budget in Parliament today, Katie Hammond said it will be morally wrong to ask Ghanaians to pay more for electricity in the midst of the power crisis. He also questioned why government has abandoned two vital thermal plants, the Mines Reserve plant with a generating capacity of 80 megawatts and the Tema plant 2, which also has a generating capacity of 49 megawatts at a time the country is grappling with energy issues. The Adansia Sokwa MP is also demanding answers as to why the Energy Ministry spent over 100 million Ghana cedis for capacity building as captured in the 2012 report on the petroleum funds. Energy Minister Emmanuel Kofi-Boa, in a response, said the two plants are being configured to be powered with gas instead of crude oil. He indicated that the configuration, when completed in 6 weeks, will reduce government expenditure on the plants. The House continues with the debate on the budget tomorrow.
And we remain in Parliament, where Health Minister Sherry Aite has been summoned to appear before Parliament's Committee on Health over the current financial crisis crippling operations of the National Health Insurance Scheme.
Chairman of the committee, Joseph Iletre, who disclosed this to Joy News, said they also had informal discussions with Finance Minister Seth Tekpe on Tuesday over delays in releasing monies accrued from the health insurance levy. The invitation was necessitated by the denial of service to NHIS card-bearing members by some mission hospitals over unpaid claims of over 50 million cedis and fears that other service providers might soon join the action. Joseph Iletre said the committee is worried about the development but pointed out that there is little they can do if government has no money. Meanwhile, former Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Elias Zori, is challenging government to demonstrate commitment to salvage the scheme. A former board member of the National Health Insurance Authority said managers of the scheme are not doing Ghanaians good by hiding the truth. The Health Insurance Authority has, however, directed NHIS card-bearing patients denied services to visit government hospitals.
You're still watching the Primetime News on your Joy News channel on Multi TV. We take a quick breather. When we return, we'll bring you many more stories. Please don't go away. You're welcome back. Residents in Musoko, a suburb of Ashoman, are calling on the government to come to their aid in constructing a damaged bridge that links the community to others. According to them, since the bridge collapsed, nothing has been done to solve the situation, and drivers continue to drive on it, further pushing it to its complete collapse.
This is the current state of the bridge at Musoko in Ashoman. At the time Joy News got to the area, some cars were meandering their way to use the little space available. Even in its bad state, these drivers continue to use the same route. According to some residents, the MP and the assemblyman for the area have been there to inspect the collapsed bridge but have done nothing to help the situation. Others said the bridge has been weak for a long time and occasional downpour only brought to light dangers residents are exposed to.
The assemblyman came here several times. They say they divide into two. Musoko divided into two. One assemblyman there for Kwabenya. One is for atomic. So they say the atomic one took from the bridge to the other side. Then Kwabenya one took from the bridge to this side. But nothing has been done about it. Some time ago, they said they brought some people from the office. They said from this side, Abukobi. They came and saw it. But nothing was done about it.
To go to the Sraban, a bank for an inch, and Pino, Adolf no or Quabena no, or Behayan, Abrophobe try, Obia Ban will be chuckle, and someone can share 3 years I buy just and so to the Yaquine Cora, the Sraban, Bankers and Fanny some Bishas, Mayan, and a peca Bessia go to him. Boys are more peja, 500 ansana, Mutu peja, you know, carno. Nti your boss is that I'm ba hambe traffic ba e kwan ni sinti traffic no mo na mo sa tip park ese ne nketu anyina ahaya na mo fa nti bridge so nkwala ya sa nso to nkwala ntumi nko school
gota no eye gota kese bi ada ha senso to ayentumi ntwa e ba fiefie nti dakro na nso no to saa no me ba ne kunu fa ka ba fie saa no wo ba fie pe na me so me sim so me kwa sorry bi du gota no papa no na ade ba ko sa me ngira ho and I'm a China Hona, I mean, say, Bridget no Acosa Pena, Oco Tomu say. Now, Obia, ye did say, hey, mammy, and ye, and you mean, tia, Ubi woo me nipa duanya me popo, minim ni ame ye.
These areas also get flooded anytime there is heavy downpour, making it difficult to cross to the other side of the road. Looks like if help does not come quickly for the people of Musoko, the area will end up separated from the main town.
The Women, Peace and Security Institute of the Kofi Annan Peacekeeping Training Center is urging the media to promote the United Nations Security Council Resolution 1325 on the back of increasing concerns on exclusion of women in governance. The institute is asking the media to create awareness and knowledge about women's participation in governance, peace and security after a day's forum it held at the center.
The media should advocate and influence change in policy and practice. Yes, you can. Yes, you have the power. Whatever you focus on becomes the thing that we all focus on. So yes, you can.
Most women, particularly Ghanaian women, have faced exclusion from decision-making, especially in the public sector since colonial times. The practice has persisted through modern state administration up till now. Reports indicate efforts have been made to empower women, but it appears progress remains limited. The Women, Peace and Security Institute at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center, however, believe the media has a major role to play in creating awareness on the need for women to participate in governance and security.
Despite all strides, we still observe that the coverage of women, peace and security issues remains low, and that this ultimately contributes to the low level of awareness among the wider citizenry. This gap, therefore, calls for a closer engagement with the media to understand and report on issues of women's participation in governance, peace and security, so as to engage the wider citizenry on these issues.
Women's rights advocate and lawyer Angela Dramnabwaje, who re-echoed the importance of the media's role, said the fourth estate should influence change in policies and practices in the country. She observed that women possessed an inbuilt security role that enables them to address such issues with ease.
I think it's because we have a narrow perception of who the media is. Think about it. It's not just the print and the TV and radio. Now there's social media. Now people are using internet. Now, but then there are people behind these things. The people, once they have an understanding and an insight into what the issues are able to change the trends if it comes to security within the house. Women are the first to wake up, the last to sleep. So already inbuilt into our gender rules is a security role. Just by reason of the fact that women give birth should tell you that women are strong. They may not have the brawn, but they have the brains.
Journalists at the forum expressed their views on the need to utilize the airways to promote women in governance.
A delegation of chiefs from the Wasafiase traditional area has paid a courtesy call on the Minister of Chieftaincy and Culture to congratulate him on his appointment to the ministry.
The group, led by the Omanhene of the Wasafiase traditional area, said they were excited about the news of Dr. Henry Seydou Danai's nomination by the President and his subsequent appointment to the Ministry of Chieftaincy and Culture. Osajefo Dr. Kwamina Enimel VI called for the support of the ministry for the running of an NGO they intended putting up to settle chieftaincy disputes in the western and central regions.
The office of the Ebwe, we be out on an expert of Bob Wama, the Mujumazin, we're paying. Ye one day, you be here expert. You be no way train on ADR. Or alternative dispute resolution. Winyim no ho enyimzi na nanum no krapo wo ma wo go through. Them training.
Dr. Dana promised the ministry would help in any way it could to make the organization a successful one.
Achieving peace for this country in chieftaincy will help in the speedy development of speedy economic development for the society. So it's something that I'm very happy to hear about. And you can count on me, whatever assistance. And I'm happy you have already spotted on experts. And I'm praying that one day it would even become an international thing. So that just like other African countries, people come to understudy our chieftaincy.
He said he was encouraged by the visit of the chiefs to put in his best to bequeath a legacy before he leaves the ministry.
The favorable comments made about me makes it to show that when you do good, the good is not overlooked. And I would work even still harder in this new position as minister for the institution, betterment of the institution of chieftaincy and Ahemfo in Ghana.
The chiefs presented some gifts to the minister. The delegation earlier visited the tourism ministry.
The Royal Regent of Dagbon, Kampakuya Na Abdullah Yakubu Wandani, is urging the National Disaster Management Organization and the various district assemblies to embark on a tree planting exercise to lessen the impact of natural disasters in the area. The North and Upper regions have been badly affected by a series of rain and windstorms tearing through that part of the country. But the Kampakuya now believes planting trees will go a long way to help prevent some disasters, especially rainstorms.
The Dagbon Regent made the call when the Northern Regional Coordinator of NADMO, Alhaji Abdullahi Silimbumba, and the Yendi Municipal Chief Executive, Issa Zakaria, together with some other officials, presented relief items to victims affected by the recent rainstorm in Yendi. The relief items included roofing sheets and nails to help in the rebuilding of structures damaged during the rainstorm.
Today, we have received some few relief items from NADMO. And on behalf of the people of Yendi municipality, I'm taking delivery of such items and promise that all these items will go to the victims.
Business Reports comes up next. Please stay. The point-to-point inflation rate as recorded by the Consumer Price Index (CPI) increased by 1.2% for calendar year February 2012 and February 2013, according to figures released today by the Statistical Services Department. What do these latest figures mean to you as a consumer? Mariam Turi was at the press conference and has filed this report.
The Consumer Price Index for the month of February 2013 shot up from 8.8% to 10.0%. The figure, which represents a monthly change of 2.6%, is the highest inflation rate since June 2010. Food inflation for February also increased to 5.3%, while non-food inflation also inched up to 12.6%. As expected, these two variables were the major contributors to the monthly CPI.
The price drivers for the non-food inflation rate were alcoholic beverages, tobacco, and narcotics, with a figure of 15.9%, transport 15.8%, and housing, water, electricity, gas, and other utilities 15.5%. For the food inflation, we find that the price drivers are mineral water, soft drinks, and juices 15.7%, milk, cheese, and eggs 15.3%, coffee, tea, and cocoa 11.6%, and meat 10.9%.
Acting government statistician Dr. Philomena Nyakon attributed the trends to the recent hikes in fuel prices, as well as the increase in prices of some essential commodities. She, however, emphasized that seasonal effects of pricing on inflation and regional variations are mostly responsible, adding they cannot be pinned down to one factor, but a multiplicity of variables. Water, though, is still recording a 0% year-on-year increase. The chief statistician, however, adds that if water tariffs go up, there certainly will be a change. At the regional level, the year-on-year inflation rate ranged from 7.4% in the western region to 12.0% in the northern region, with the northern region recording the highest inflationary rate. 6 subgroups in the non-food sector recorded year-on-year inflation rates above the group's average rate. 4 regions, Northern, Greater Accra, Ashanti, and Brong-Ahafo, recorded inflation rates above the national average of 10.0%.
The European Union has released new rights for airline passengers. They include rerouting travelers with rival carriers if a flight is delayed. Internet search giant Google is paying nearly $15 million in bonuses to 4 of its top executives for their performances last year. Neither of Google's 2 co-founders, including Chief Executive Larry Page, will get a bonus though. Executive Chairman and former boss Eric Schmidt will get $6 million, the largest reward. The rest of the money will go to its top lawyer, Chief Financial Officer and Chief Business Officer. Lawyer David Drummond is getting $3 million, while Patrick Pichette and Nikesh Arora are to receive $2.8 million each. The company said this in its regulatory filings. In January, Google said its net profit for the final 3 months of last year was $2.89 billion, up 7% on a year earlier. Revenues were up by more than a third at $14.4 billion. Well, that's it for the business reports, market data and some investment tips coming up next. So George has been standing by all this while holding in his hands the latest in sports. And today, what are we doing in sports?
Everybody's been talking about soccer for a while because of Black Stars and DDIU and all. But we have to pay attention to the boxing scene. They have their major elections, and it's the first time it's happening on the scene. They have the elections tomorrow.
So we're hoping that there won't be any boxing while they're
Oh, no, they won't do that. Surely they're not going to do any boxing or that. But I think it's very important that they get that. They won't do that. They can't do that.
Are you Catholic?
I'm not Catholic.
You're not Catholic. How do you feel about the Catholic thing?
Well, I think, thank God, finally we have a Pope.
Sure.
But I was just looking through it. Arsenal is playing against Bayern Munich right now. They are leading by 1-0. Maybe on the day when a Pope was found, they might get the luck they need to qualify into the Champions
Well, I'm
League.
not so much into these things, but I hope they do well, like you're saying.
Obviously.
All right, so take it over now.
I'll be back with the rest of the news in sports.
Sports is brought to you in association.
All right, so let's do boxing. And boxing stakeholders, for the first time in their history, will go to the polls tomorrow to elect new executives, which will herald a new beginning for the sport after the Sonny Captain-led administration was asked to stand down a couple of months ago. Erasmus Adoko is Chief Sports Development Officer at the National Sports Authority and tells Joy Sports all is set for smooth elections at the media center of the Accra Sports Stadium tomorrow.
The qualified voters are those who are going to come from the various stakeholders as we kept publishing. The number, we are talking about 70 voters. I say 70 because initially when we asked for, when it was agreed that the gyms should also be allowed to vote, it became imperative that we look for the number of the gyms that exist everywhere in Ghana. At a point, we realized that, no, it wasn't going to be the same. For example, we know that in Eastern region, we had only 2 clubs. But as had their list coming, official list coming, we got that the clubs are 4. And the election is not for Accra Association or Greater Accra Authority. The election is for Ghana Boxing Authority. So we need to reach everywhere there is a recognized boxing activity. That is how it came up to that. For the presidency, 4. These are Henry Manley Spain, Peter Zuenis, Samir Kaptan, and Francis Declan.
All right, so who is it going to be? We'll find out tomorrow. A very good thing for you to put down your diary. Tomorrow, all that will happen at the media center with respect to the elections is going to be live on your Joy Sports channel on Multi TV. Do join us at 8 a.m. as we take you through the whole process. And let's do some more sports. And the Confederation of African Football says it will carry out inspections of stadia on the continent that teams will use for their qualifiers for the 2015 Nations Cup. CAF made the announcement before the start of the General Assembly in Marrakesh as it prepares for next year's draw for the 2015 Nations Cup finals in Morocco. According to the continent's sports governing body, any stadium which fails to meet the standard will not be permitted to host the qualifying match. The 2015 Africa Cup of Nations will be the second after the just-ended tournament in South Africa, to be held in an odd year after the revised calendar of hosting Africa's premier football event was switched. Okay, so just a quick update on the UEFA Champions League. Arsenal currently leading Bayern Munich by 1-0 all the way in Germany. Let's find out what happens really on the day that we chose the Pope. My name is George Adi Jr.
Gospel lovers. Now, the release of his hit single Once Twice on a mixtape produced by Apietus in 2005 set him on an instant path to stardom. In fact, he became more popular than some of the most established artists at the time. But shortly afterwards, he went into hibernation. Well, Ebo is back on the music radar with his new work, which he is sure will go viral again.
I've been in school. I went for my degree. You know, so I have a degree in IT now. The next thing is I'm going to the law school very soon.
Gospel business. Renowned gospel musician Nicholas Omanie Champong, popularly known for his track Zephaniah Pania, has accused organizers of the Ghana Music Awards of being biased and non-transparent. Meanwhile, spokesperson for the awards, Niaite Hammond, has dared Omanie Champong to go ahead and name those being biased. Zephaniah Pania man there for you. And that's it for Showbiz. That's it for tonight. Before we leave you though, let's take a quick look at our top stories again. 4 officials of the Ghana Water Company Limited and the Ghana Urban Water Company interdicted over use of 0.7% of the total 12,000 metric tons of expired chemicals for water treatment at the Wager treatment plant. Ghana is no longer classified as hyper-endemic for malaria as the country makes remarkable improvements in the control and prevention of the disease. Year-on-year consumer price inflation for February 2013 increased by 1.2%.